Merry Christmas, or should I say a very Merry Kingdomas, boys and girls. I thought it would be a cool idea to look back on all the chapters that Hara treated us with during Christmas over the years, from when Kingdom began in 2006 all the way to now in 2023. So let's get straight into it. Up first, in the winter of 2006, Hara treated us with chapter 46, Brothers. In this Seikyo's rebellion arc, it begins with the confusion of Seikyo's soldiers as he himself screams that they should kill Sei, but Seikyo shouldn't be outside. The army then notices the head of Chancellor Ketsu, effectively signaling their defeat. Sei walks up to his brother and pretty much tells him he'll always be a loner, and proclaims that this loser isn't worthy of being king. Seikyo, enraged by this, moves to attack Sei, but Sei quickly stabs a sword through his arm with ease, as Seikyo falls to the ground in agony, and goes crazy at the sight of his own blood. Sei then states that Seikyo has absolutely no idea how much blood has been spilled because of him. Believing that Seikyo should feel this same pain, Sei decides to body this man. Left, right, good night, all of it. He then proclaims their victory. Next, in the winter of 2007, Hara treated us with chapter 92, Secret. In this assassination plot arc, it begins with everyone being relieved to see that Shobun-kun and the boys have arrived to capture the remaining assassins. Heki then orders the guards to capture them all alive, but Shobun-kun and his army easily take care of them. One of the assassins tries to use up the last of his strength to strike at Sei, but Sei, being the badass that he is, takes it upon himself to slay him swiftly. Kyokai and Shin are then brought to a chamber to tend to their wounds. Everyone wants to take Kyokai away, but Shin will not allow this, and so the ship continues to sail. Shin tells them about Kyokai's achievements as his comrade. Ko tries to say she is dangerous and should be locked up, but Shin threatens her ass. Ten then diffuses the situation by tying up Kyokai and taking her sword, while saying that they'll wait till Shin passes out to take her. Kyokai eventually wakes up and tries to escape. At the same time, Sei looks to see if Shin is awake and talks with him. Ten anticipates where Kyokai would be, as she knew that she would go after her sword. Ten and the rest of us as the readers then discover that Kyokai is actually a girl. Next, in the winter of 2008, Hara treated us with chapter 140, 2 against 1. In this Battle of Bio arc, it begins with the Xiao messenger reporting that their bodyguard team have actually lost track of their great general, Hoken. He also states that Hoken might have been seen in the Qin camp. Meanwhile, in the Qin camp, Hoken stands before Shin and Kyokai in their first encounter ever, as he says that though they might be children, he will kill them nonetheless. Kyokai says she didn't call him, but Hoken reaffirms it was her mere existence that called him. He then labels himself as a Mushin. With this, Shin and Kyokai both begin to profusely sweat, knowing the fearsome man that they are facing, and that he is also the Xiao commander-in-chief. Hoken, having killed so many comrades, meant that Shin could not back away from this fight and had to avenge them, a feeling that Kyokai also knows all too well. BA and the gang think that Shin and Kyokai together might have a chance at winning, but soon realize reality is often disappointing, as Shin is sent flying, only barely blocking Hoken's attack, and Kyokai is also sent flying, but starts tan-tan-toning away, preparing a priestess dance technique. Next, in the winter of 2009, Hara treated us with chapter 187, Ko Conveys. In this third faction arc, it begins with Ko falling to the ground and crawling after being stabbed, as Yo finds her and tries to wake her up. She takes Ko to the doctors in the royal harem, but she has a high fever that may very well threaten her life. We then cut over to Sei's chambers, where Yo runs in suddenly and begs Sei to help Ko. Of course, Sei sets off to save his wifey and calls for the doctors to awaken. A cool little thing here is that it is stated that China's medical practices had already started to take shape before the Warring States period. With this, Ko is stabilized and saved. Here comes the most clutch moment. Ko tells Sei everything she ever heard, from the Queen Mother's intention to join Ryofui's faction, to them having an affair, to the fact that they used to be betrothed to each other. Sei's pissed at these discoveries and goes out for some fresh air, but nevertheless Sei recognizes this as an opening to go on the offensive. Next, in the winter of 2010, Hara treated us with chapter 235, Fashion. In this Sanyo campaign arc, it begins with Renpa and Mogo starting their duel with soldiers on both sides waiting in anticipation. None of Mogo's commanders think he can win. Renpa mocks what Mogo said to him about wanting someone to talk to and swings his glaive, asking his longtime rival what he meant by this. To everyone's surprise, Mogo actually gets kinda close to Renpa's head before he dodges and slashes Mogo in the chest, though the strike was too shallow as Mogo calms himself to everyone's relief. Mogo tries to get a rise out of Renpa as he marks that moment as avoiding mutual destruction, and Renpa responds to this with a powerful strike, knocking Mogo back, as he mocks Mogo about what he can hope to achieve with such lackluster technique. But Mogo retorts with his true weapon, the power of love. Kidding. His heart, his words. Though he fears Renpa from the bottom of his heart, and thought it was unfair that he would have to face him again, he soon saw Renpa's appearance as a blessing due to young Shin's words. He simply needs to win this battle and have the last laugh. With this, Mogo starts the next attack, reminiscing about how he left his homeland of Chi and has now risen up to the rank of Great General in Qin, proclaiming that everything was for this moment, and so Renpa is blown away but still blocks the attack. Mogo then asks Renpa about the weight of the 40 years of his passion, claiming that there is nothing inside Renpa able to accept Mogo's blows of passion. Pause! The two great generals continue to exchange blows to everyone's amazement, but Renpa is without a doubt wounding Mogo further and further. But it seems like Mogo is actually pushing back Renpa too with each strike. Everyone then ponders how this old-ass general's strikes can be so heavy. Is it simply willpower? Or maybe his brute strength was greater than Renpa's to begin with. After all, he is the father of Great General Mobu, China's mightiest. Mogo then passionately proclaims that Renpa's era has ended, that his golden age and flame have gone out along with the 6 great generals of Qin. One more strike goes on to crush Renpa Horse's legs and dismounts him. Everyone in shock awaits Mogo as he prepares to deliver the final blow. Next, in the winter of 2011, Hara treated us with Chapter 280, Officer's Quality. In this coalition invasion arc, it begins with Rimbo, one of To's commanders, dying with an arrow straight through the head. Rokiomi manages to avoid Hakurei's arrows, but understands it was not a lucky shot. Rimbo-kun orders Hakurei not to interfere, but he ignores. Moten manages to locate where this impressive archer is and divides his unit into 2. One toward the enemy HQ and the other to kill Hakurei. At To's headquarters, Raigoku is worried because the soldiers have gone quiet. Even though Rokiomi and Rimbo are on the offensive, To finds this slightly worrying, affirming that quality will be needed over quantity to defeat the Chu army. Following this, Moten manages to reach Hakurei and is about to kill him, when Kokyo, another 1,000-man commander, saves him. Now Moten is in danger of dying, but as Kokyo goes to finish him off, Ohon appears and saves the day. Next, in the winter of 2012, Hara treated us with Chapter 325, Forward. Also part of the Coalition invasion arc, it begins with Shin arriving near where Jukio is, currently alone dueling with Hoken. As Shin yells and gets closer, Jukio orders him to instead leave the battlefield and move forward to Kanyo. But suddenly, Jukio picks up his cherished shield and throws it to him. Jukio then continues fighting Hoken with a beast-like savagery, with both exchanging heavy blows before Jukio loses his arm. Despite having one arm, he pushes Hoken back and almost cuts him down with 1 foot in the grave. Though through overwhelming strength, Hoken knocks his weapon away. Raigoku recognizes that Jukio's final strike actually had the true purpose of grabbing Hoken's arm, breaking it and rendering it permanently useless. Hoken then picks up his glaive to deal the final blow, but before being cut down, Jukio calls out to Shin and tells him to never let his flames die out. Truly a tearjerker. Shin gives out a desperate cry as Jukio's blood splashes everywhere. Next, in the winter of 2013, Hara treated us with Chapter 371, Tonryuu's Charge. In this conspiracy in the court arc, it begins with Seikyo and his army successfully subjugating the rebel army and saving Tonryuu. Following his victory, Seikyo is greeted by the city's stand-in ruler, Hokaku. Hokaku offers Seikyo to go where his granny and his wife Rui are currently residing. It is in these chambers that he proclaims to Seikyo that he is the true king of Qin, and suggests that he takes the throne with his assistants. But Seikyo, not thinking like a rebel anymore like his younger days, character development by the way, instead asks where his wife is, because she is not where he said she was. Seikyo then commands his general to cut Hokaku down, but his general is suddenly beheaded immediately by his other general. What a betrayal. And so now Seikyo is being made out to be the head of this rebellion. News of this reaches Kanyo, but Sei in anger leaves the room and asks Shobun-kun to come with him. Sei actually believes that Seikyo is being framed and is trying to deduce whether or not Seikyo might really be the victim of a deceptive ploy. With this, Sei, having no army to be able to make this difficult decision, calls upon Shin to assist in this rescue mission. Next, in the winter of 2014, Hara treated us with chapter 415, How to Create Rebel Soldiers. In this State of Eye arc, it begins with Ryufui questioning why Sei wants to continue with the ceremony despite the Eye Rebellion advancing. Ryufui and the Queen Mother are both surprised that this is the current reaction. Not only Sei, but Sweat Bunkun is abnormally calm. So Ryufui deduces that Sei must have known beforehand that the Eye Rebellion was coming, but he and the Queen Mother do not know when Sei found out, racking their brains. At the Northern Passage, many Qin soldiers are unknowingly fighting each other. One soldier even asks for an explanation before being cut down by the Duke of Juteki, who says he would explain later, but for now to keep fighting. Hanoki, the other rebel general, states that once someone has a sword at your throat, rebel or not, everything stops mattering, and you must fight to survive. Such is human nature. This attitude is further reinforced when Hanoki orders his men who are having second thoughts to behead other fellow Qin soldiers. Having gone past the point of no return, an extremely competent rebel army is now born. Back at the temple, Ryufui is still racking his brain, but Sei tells him that he is jumping to conclusions, acting like Sei has been driven to a corner. But our main man states there is no need to struggle, because an army capable of stopping the rebels is on its way. Our Shin unit. Next, in the winter of 2015, Hara treated us with chapter 458, Banner of Rigan. In this Kokyo campaign arc, it begins with the Shao and Chin on the left wing at a standoff, whilst Zeno and the Hulk boys are getting restless. But Raito reaffirms that our boy Kanki is simply waiting to see where he can cause the most agony. And boy, if only they knew like we do. The battles then begin as both sides throw themselves into chaos. The battle on the left half of the hill is evenly matched, whilst the battle on the right half appears to have been dominated by the Qin side, spearheaded by 5,000-man Commander Kokyo. Here, there's a funny little moment when his soldiers believe unfair treatment happens only to the ugly boys. Real. Whilst this is happening, the Heishin unit on the right wing has already broken through the Shao lines, to the surprise of Kokyo. Just before she and her unit is about to pierce through to the enemy commander, the hero Kisui of Rigan appears to save the day, holding a big-ass flag, almost as heavy and big as his it is because of that Kanki now has something up his sleeve, and once again I say, if only they knew like we do. Next, in the winter of 2016, Hara treated us with chapter 500, Soldiers on the Warpath. In this Western Shao invasion arc, it begins with the Raigoku being informed that a Qin army of 200,000 soldiers have set out from Kanyo. These armies are being led by none other than our great generals Kanki, Yotenwa, and Osen. Unfathomably epic. Raigoku then tells Kain to send a request to Kantan for General Kocho, the guardian deity of the royal capital, while Shun Suiju to monitor the enemy movements and supply chains to deduce their true intentions. At the same time, Shin is at the very front with the vanguard and is enjoying his first time with Great General Oki's glaive. Ten is at the back with Yotenwa, reminiscing on everything they have achieved since they met all those years ago. Whilst talking about the plan, Yotenwa tells Ten to remain calm, as to not make the soldiers nervous, and because there are already spies among us. It is then revealed that the secret behind the Qin supply chain is that the food is being stored underground in Kinan, whilst the supplies heading for Kokyo are filled with dirt. A spicy feint. Next, in the winter of 2017, Hara treated us with chapter 542, Nail. Also part of the Western Shao invasion arc, it begins with the Shao army launching a massive offensive on the Qin right wing on the third day of the Shukai Plains. Both Choga Ryu and Gyoen of Shao are dismantling the Qin soldiers. Everyone knows Qin is in trouble. Osen, Ako, Ohun, you name it. And so since the Gyoen army has the Ako army on the back foot, Ohun personally rides out to save them at the flank. To Ohun's surprise when he arrives, the formation is as though they were already prepared for such a maneuver occurring. As a result, Ohan tries to escape, but the kill zone has already been set. These elites are chipping away at all the soldiers and manage to get Banyo off his horse. But it seems his life is at an end as Ohan is unable to save him in time. Before out of nowhere comes in Ohan's best friends Shin and Kyokai. Shin and his Haitian unit is here to save the day, and Ohan, as his classic tsundere self, is definitely extremely happy to see Shin. Next, in the winter of 2018, Hara treated us with Chapter 585, Raigoku. Also part of the Western Shao invasion arc, it begins with an onslaught of Shao's 10 spears on the Gokuho unit, before this unit proclaims that their spear skill is not far below Ohan to begin with. This is followed by Gyoen's big ass cleaving many of them in twain. Jeez. Ohan then feasts his eyes on the man that served as a sword of one of the three great heavens of Shao. He is then surrounded by these elite 10 spears and is in deep trouble. All of his men are dying one by one and he is being attacked from all directions with no time to breathe. It is revealed that he is succumbing to a technique known as Raigoku, a technique that was devised to slay any of the 6 great generals of Qin through an overwhelming combination of strength. Banyo, seeing his son in danger, takes some cavalry and rides out to save him, but he is stopped by Tonryuu. It now seems hopeless for Ohan, who is definitely going to die, before the Kanji unit arrives to save the day. The onslaught continues on Ohan and he is eating these blows from Gyoen like a champ, not being able to last much longer. Suddenly, Kanjo manages to devise a strategy to save Ohan through a single point breakthrough that would involve Ohan making it out while Kanjo would make it in. Ohan gives it his all, he's everything in a flurry of spear techniques and successfully makes it out, but Kanjo is left with Gyoen's inevitable monstrous glaive looming over him. Next, in the winter of 2019, Hara treated us with Chapter 627, Where the Path Leads. Boy, are we in for a treat. Also, part of the Western Shao invasion arc, it begins with everyone frozen by the intensity of the chills in the air, witnessing an event on the 15th day of the Shukai Plains that would be sure to roar throughout China. Shin vs Hoken. Ten finally arrives at the scene after desperately making her way to see Shin. Shin and Hoken are exchanging heavy blow after heavy blow. Though Shin keeps getting knocked down, he constantly gets back up. He can really do it all day. Shin continues to give it his all, knowing everyone is with him, whether it be the dead General Oki or those comrades that are currently around him. Shin is still eating these blows. When Kyokai begs someone to stop him, Shin is selling his soul literally in this battle. Hoken, as the buffoon he is, continues to question why Shin, Oki and the like still continue to stand and fight after experiencing his honed blade. Hoken refuses to believe that his path didn't exist in the first place, for Shin smashes his glaive into pieces. Hoken tries to attempt this sneaky stab maneuver, but Shin manages to dodge. Shouting out Hoken's name, he crashes his glaive into Hoken's shoulder and cleaves him in twain. Oh my goodness, our boy Shin has finally avenged our great General Oki and Jukyo. Next, in the winter of 2020, Hara treated us with Chapter 665, Rei's Purpose. In this Shiryu conflict arc, it begins with Kyokai's sister, Kyo-Rei, rampaging on all the Shao soldiers, as bloodthirsty and merciless as can be, which is taking a toll on the Haitian unit infantry. Kyokai reveals that though she killed Yurin and hid her body, it must have been found, and so Kyo-Rei is the new winner of the ritual with Kyokai as her target. It then shifts over to Kyo-Rei throwing up alone when Ko calls out to her. She is suspicious of him as he uses one of Kyokai's moves, a soundless step. He is only trying to help, but she places her sword at his neck, only releasing because the others are around. Her continued bloodlust on the battlefield by killing even surrendered Shao soldiers causes Sugen to confront Shin. Though Shin cautions patience for Kyokai to recover, Sugen has had enough and takes matters into his own hands. Kyo-Rei dismisses all of them as weaklings who may be spared if they prostrate as an apology. She easily senses the Archer brothers and moves to fight with literally everybody, until Kyokai steps in, and thus begins the battle of the Tan Tan Ton Ton. Next, in the winter of 2021, Hara treated us with Chapter 704, Heading North. In this Xiao's retaliation arc, it begins with Kain having a wet dream about Raigoku, before she is in for a rude awakening. Literally. Her and Raigoku make their way back to Kantan. While riding, Kain accidentally says out loud she wishes they were returning to Genman together instead. She tries to hide it, but Raigoku actually reciprocates her sentiment. Upon returning, Raigoku sends envoys to Shibasho's cities Seika and Romo. Two Seika generals are then sent out to Romo after receiving Raigoku's orders, Kinsara and Jiega. the newly captured cities Heiyo and Bujo, the Yotsuma army arrives to hold down the positions, relieving the Hishin unit. Shin and Yotsuma catch up during this time, and he asks about the 6th Great General's pendant, while Kyokai gets jealous. We then cut to Raigoku and his gang discussing plans with the Xiao King, who actually begins licking Kain, but he stops when Raigoku reaffirms her importance as an officer of his army. Raigoku then states his plan of splitting up Kanki and Osun's armies at Atsuya. Next, in the winter of 2022, Hara treated us with chapter 743, The Promise. Also part of the Xiao's retaliation arc, it begins with Raigoku going to Kain's rescue, before she takes an arrow for him to prevent Raigoku getting the Oki treatment. RIP. Kain actually eats 2 of these, and then falls onto the ground. Raigoku tries to save her, but is stopped by Rengoku. It looks like Kain is done for, but Raigoku jumps off his horse and goes off to save her again for the 2nd time. He pretty much said, "That's wifey. We gotta stay alive and go home together." But here we are again, Rengoku is back for more, and Raigoku eats another strike. Raigoku was at death's door for the 1,000,000th time, but is saved by Fute and Bafuji. And thus begins the Fute vs Rengoku duel. Last but not least, in this winter of 2023, Hara treated us with chapter 781. Reinforced by the 2 legends. In this Hango campaign arc, it begins with the Hishin unit continuing their siege on Raigoku's makeshift earthen fortress. Here we see the newest member Shito show off some of his sword prowess, just slightly. We then cut over to Yotsuma on the left wing, where the Mera tribe is continuing their onslaught on the way to Hango Castle to save Katare's husband Heki. Whilst this is happening, Yotsuma orders the Chin commander to send reinforcements to Katare, and like all of us would, the commander blushes and complies without question. In the central battlefield, Shira is barely keeping up with Jiega, struggling until Den Remy pops up with his lethal army, ready to slay some generals and take some heads. Wasting no time, Sanshu the Immortal is sent in there to stall, followed by the 2 damage dealers, who by the way do not hesitate to label him as a monkey. Dang. All seems well until out of nowhere, Xiao's last great heaven Shibisho attacks them from the side and cleaves multiple of these overhyped frauds in twain. And so now that we know everything, let me know your guys' favorite Christmas chapter in the comment section below. Enjoy this video? Check out my other videos. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated on my latest videos. I appreciate you guys.